of the country will remain a key priority for the new central authorities. And I think our expectation from the Kazakh chairmanship will remain the same as our expectations of all preceding chairmanships, is to play an active and engaging role as a mediator, which it is to the 5+2 format, which the United States is also an observer, to play its part and its role in making sure that a lasting solution, political solution to this conflict is identified. What concerns the question about the assistance on behalf of the United States government, including the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and what would happen if this assistance is not granted, I personally don't want to entertain that kind of scenario, and I don't think anyone in the current administration and in the future administration will entertain this kind of scenario. I think that measures will be continued and steps will be undertaken in order to ensure that Moldova continue to meet the established criteria for being eligible to the full compact, and with that, hopefully, that this assistance will finally make it to Moldova and be used for its destination, which is the very important areas for Moldova's future development, including economic development, and that is the road infrastructure, that is the rehabilitation of the old and obsolete irrigation systems, which are crucial to the development of the agricultural sector, but also to the improving and developing the public health sector in the rural areas of Moldova. So again, I don't think anyone thinks about what happens to Moldova if this assistance is not received. I think people will continue to concentrate their actions on making sure that Moldova receives this assistance. As far as the comment with e-voting in Moldova is concerned, by no means I was saying that this is what is going to happen. I just mentioned that that is part of the recommendation of international election observers, and a great deal of it probably deals with ensuring that Moldovans that are abroad have a better chance to express their vote. And in this regard, I would like to just underline that these are all issues of legislation, of existing international practices. It's not really an option for an embassy, say in the United States, to open polling stations on the West Coast, in the North, or in the South. There are strict provisions, and it will be up to the new parliament to work around that and to identify those changes that need to be made in the legislation to ensure that all Moldovans, regardless of where they find themselves in times of election, get a chance to vote. And the trafficking in human being question. The most recent report was just published in June, and according to this report, Moldova has remained in the Tier 2 watch list. It has not been downgraded in this report, and that can be viewed twofold. On one side, the authors of the report, the GTIP, they recognize the significant progress that the authorities have achieved in fighting this negative phenomenon. On the other hand, they still they signal the existence of shortcomings and deficiencies that need to be addressed by the Moldovan authorities. So this is kind of like when you look at the International Election Observation Mission's a statement on the election process, that it met the most important international criteria, but I think there are challenges that needs to be tackled. So it's about, you could look at it about the same way. I personally tend to look at this from a rather, optimistic perspective. The people have spoken. The results are clear. What happened will probably be more detailed in the history books, because I don't believe at this point anyone has all the facts and about what happened in the past. But it's important that there's a new parliament, and it has to elect new central authorities. And the challenges that the current administration faces will by no means become easier or change as a result of that.
Thank you.
Education. Yes, it is true that usually such programs as voter education and civic education are conducted only during the election campaigns. Even in the OC report, preliminary report, they did mention as a positive aspect the fact that the Central Election Commission did conduct such a campaign, voter education campaign. They did produce TV spots and broadcast them. Some of our colleagues from the Coalition 2009, they did implement several programs on civic education, such as bus campaigns, and also they did broadcast several TV spots. But it is not enough, because everything ends after the election day. And in the case of young people, they are more informed because they have access to the internet. They can communicate with each other through the online social networks like Facebook or Одноклассники. It's not the case for older people, and most of voters from villages, from rural areas, on election day they go to the polling stations, and in many cases they don't know for which party they will vote. And in the election poll station, they are told what to do.
I'm Laura Jewett from the National Democratic Institute. My question is primarily for Ms. Gogu, but I welcome responses from other panelists or perhaps some of the OSCE representatives who are here. And that has to do with election observation. I wonder if you have thoughts on why there was such a discrepancy between the OSCE's preliminary statement and the domestic observer statements, which were quite critical.
Valentin Tepordei, the Romanian-American Committee for Bessarabia. Related to the same question. After the first elections, the first press releases, including the American embassy, said that everything was okay. The second row of so-called independent international observers concluded the same thing. Everything was nice and beautiful, nothing wrong, nothing messed up. I'm wondering, those international observers, are they watching from their hotel rooms, the TV programs, and coming up with the reports? I have a feeling that this was cut off already.
No, I think it's off.
Okay. Why such a discrepancy? Even the American embassy in Moldova released first a statement that everything was okay.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you speaking about the April elections or last week?
In both.
Okay, so
in both. So why we knew about what the representative of Moldova from the press, from the Moldavian press. Something is not right somewhere. Those observers are manipulated. Those observers are afraid of speaking freely, or what's going on?